blessed beings. Here we are again at Shelter in the Storm with A Course in Miracles lesson 133. Before we get into our video today, I'm just going to take a couple of quick minutes just to give a little announcement. I'm just not going to continue doing the text reading at the beginning of the video. We're just going to go straight into the lesson and then into Jesus' commentary in a year of forgiveness for that lesson. The reason for that is I was listening to someone else doing their A Course in Miracles videos, and it sort of really made it obvious to me, well, I've only been reading the text from the beginning of the text, and it may or may not, and in lots of cases it doesn't really gel with the lesson and Jesus' commentary about that lesson, the bit of text, the page I'm doing at the beginning of each video. And I thought that with particularly new people coming in, sometimes doing the lessons in and of themselves can seem almost overwhelming, or it can seem like a lot just doing the lesson. So without having to try and take on board part of the text each time, which doesn't really necessarily play into that particular lesson. So I thought that I would just leave that off for now, to make it simple, more simple, just shorter. It's probably easier for everyone that way. If you like doing the text reading, that's great. Jesus has mentioned just recently that it is about lesson 130. He was saying, why don't we think about getting and starting to read the text, because it's quite crucial to your understanding of the lessons more fully and your integration of them, and therefore practice of them in the everyday, rather than treating them as something that's separate from who and how we are everywhere. We can begin to integrate it more because we feel that, we just feel that it's gelling more with things, whereas instead of just being so, I don't know what to do with this, I don't even understand it, why am I doing this? I just almost finished, when I first started reading the A Course in Miracles text, I couldn't put it down. I didn't understand it, couldn't make head nor tail of it. I kept reading sections of it to my poor husband. He's not practicing A Course in Miracles. He was helping me upload the videos. That's the most he's done with A Course in Miracles, and I've been doing the course for a few years now. And I just couldn't stop sharing parts of it with him. I'm like, oh, wow, and oh, what do you think this means? And it just, so he really had little choice in being involved in it, at least in that way. And I've also found I've always been a very avid reader. I've loved to read, and been like a cookie monster except for books. But since coming across A Course in Miracles, I've noticed that I think in the last 5 years I may have finished 2 books, and other books I've started to read and they've just kind of fitted out. I've just lost interest. I just don't care, because this is the one. It feels like A Course in Miracles to me feels like a lost treasure that I didn't know I'd lost, but that I've found it now and I don't want to let it out of my sight. It's kind of like that. So there's my little rant about leaving off the text at the beginning of each video. I'm still going to be putting them through as best I can. Hopefully I won't keep uploading the wrong video like I did yesterday. And we'll just go ahead with the lesson and Jesus' commentary. It'll be shorter. And of course, just one more thing. Just read the text at your pace. And one of the reasons I read the lessons, and I had been reading the text so slowly, or deliberately, was because there's another A Course in Miracles content creator, Max Ryan, his name is, and he was with Marianne Williamson's group studying A Course in Miracles there. I think he does his own thing now. And I was listening to him one day, and he was saying, guys, if you're struggling to understand the text, or anything really to do with A Course in Miracles, read it very slowly, take your time, and it'll just seem to open up to you more. It won't seem so bamboozling. I'll stop ranting on now. Let's get on with our lesson. 133. I will not value what is valueless. Sometimes in teaching there is benefit, particularly after you have gone through what seems theoretical or far from what the student has already learned, to bring him back to practical concerns. This we will do today. We will not speak of lofty, world-encompassing ideas, but dwell instead on benefits to you. You do not ask too much of life, but far too little. When you let your mind be drawn to bodily concerns, to things you buy, to eminence as valued by the world, you ask for sorrow, not for happiness. This course does not attempt to take from you the little that you have. It does not try to substitute utopian ideas for satisfactions which the world contains. There are no satisfactions in the world. Today we list the real criteria by which to test all things you think you want. Unless they meet these sound requirements, they are not worth desiring at all, for they can but replace what offers more. The laws that govern choice you cannot make, no more than you can make alternatives from which to choose. The choosing you can do, indeed you must, but it is wise to learn the laws you set in motion when you choose, and what alternatives you choose between. We have already stressed there are but two, however many there may appear to be. The range is set, and this we cannot change. It would be most ungenerous to you to let alternatives be limitless, and thus delay your final choice until you had considered all of them in time, and had not been brought so clearly to the place where there is but one choice that must be made. Another kindly and related law is that there is no compromise in what your choice must bring. It cannot give you just a little, for there is no in-between. Each choice you make brings everything to you, or nothing. Therefore, if you learn the tests by which you can distinguish everything from nothing, you will make the better choice. First, if you choose a thing that will not last forever, what you chose is valueless. A temporary value is without all value. Time can never take away a value that is real. What fades and dies was never there, and makes no offering to him who chooses it. He is deceived by nothing in a form he thinks he likes. Next, if you choose to take a thing away from someone else, you will have nothing left. This is because when you deny his right to everything, you have denied your own. You therefore will not recognize the things you really have, denying they are there. Who seeks to take away has been deceived by the illusion loss can offer gain. Yet loss must offer loss, and nothing more. Your next consideration is the one on which the others rest. Why is the choice you make of value to you? What attracts your mind to it? What purpose does it serve? Here it is easiest of all to be deceived, for what the ego wants, it fails to recognize. It does not even tell the truth as it perceives it. for it needs to keep the halo which it uses to protect its goals from tarnish and from rust, that you may see how innocent it is. Yes, yet is its camouflage a thin veneer, which could deceive but those who are content to be deceived. Its goals are obvious to anyone who cares to look for them. Here is deception doubled, for the one who is deceived will not perceive that he has merely failed to gain. He will believe that he has served the ego's hidden goals. Yet though he tries to keep its halo clear within his vision, still must he perceive its tarnished edges and its rusted core. His ineffectual mistakes appear as sins to him, because he looks upon the tarnish as his own, the rust a sign of deep unworthiness within himself. He who would still preserve the ego's goals and serve them as his own makes no mistakes, according to the dictates of his guide. This guidance teaches it is error to believe that sins are but mistakes. For who would suffer for his sins if this were so? And so we come to the criterion for choice that is the hardest to believe, because its obviousness is overlaid with many levels of obscurity. If you feel any guilt about your choice, you have allowed the ego's goals to come between the real alternatives, and thus you do not realize there are but two, and the alternative you think you chose seems fearful and too dangerous to be the nothingness it actually is. All things are valuable or valueless, worthy or not of being sought at all, entirely desirable or not worth the slightest effort to obtain. Choosing is easy just because of this. Complexity is nothing but a screen of smoke, which hides the very simple fact that no decision can be difficult. What is the gain to you in learning this? It is far more than merely letting you make choices easily and without pain. Heaven itself is reached with empty hands and open minds, which come with nothing to find everything and claim it as their own. We will attempt to reach this state today, with self-deception laid aside and with an honest willingness to value but the truly valuable and the real. Our 2 extended practice periods of 15 minutes each begin with this. I will not value what is valueless, and only what has value do I seek, for only that do I desire to find. And then receive what waits for everyone who reaches, unencumbered, to the gate of heaven, which swings open as he comes. Should you begin to let yourself collect some needless burdens, or believe you see some difficult decisions facing you, be quick to answer with this simple thought: I will not value what is valueless, for what is valuable belongs to me. Let's see what Jesus has to say about lesson 133. I will not value what is valueless. You are blessed beings, indeed. I am that one you know as Jesus. This is a very difficult thing for those of you raised in this materialistic culture. You have been deeply indoctrinated into valuing the body overvaluing the body and hating the body. This is materialistically focused, and you have been tempted, trained, and cajoled to spend all your time trying to gather material possessions around you. The unhealthiest version of that, of course, are the billionaires who have far more than they need and continue to take from others, regardless of the methods they use. They do not need any more. Yet they feel that if they give away what they have, they will lose, when in fact they will gain. The other example of the materialistic person gone wild is the hoarder. In spiritual terms, many of you in North America are hoarders. You have houses filled with art you don't particularly like. You have cupboards filled with old objects. You constantly buy new clothes when you have a wardrobe of things you barely wear. You build your libraries of shoes, cars, or whatever else you have in your homes. We would like all of you, in this moment, when you have finished this particular recording, to take an inventory of your homes. How much do you value the material, physical, as a demonstration of your power, influence, and success? If you have far more than you need, you know straight away when you look around your home whether it is full of things you barely use. Then you prefer to accept that you have been trained into materialism. To truly expand your consciousness, you must shift your focus from the physical material world. That is a world of entropy and death. The body, of course, dies at some point. We want you to understand that it is not until you realize what you have become that you can change it. If you are in denial about your materialism, then you don't see it and you cannot change it. Take inventory of your home, closets and kitchen, and see the masses of stuff you own. You might say, this is what I'm focusing on. This is why I have been unhappy, because I have sought happiness in material objects. Clearly, they don't satisfy me, but I keep buying them. This is not about consumerism or us getting you to stop consuming. It is about making you aware of where you focus. Your focus determines how happy you are. Your focus determines what grows and what develops. I am that one you know as Jesus, and we will see you again tomorrow. Namaste, blessed beings.